Hey everybody, Josh Roesener with you on this Rocking M media station, and I am joined on the phone by Mr. Ned Ledoux. How you doing today, Ned?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. It's been a while. You were here and played in the studio with us several years ago. It's been several years ago. In fact, we've even moved offices since then. But it's good to talk to you again, and it's good to keep hearing Ned Ledoux music.
Well, yeah. Well, I know it's been a while. And one good thing about playing Hayes for me is it's not too terribly far from the house.
Right.
Me and my wife, we moved to Kansas about 12 or 13 years ago. So it'll be nice. The family will be coming out for that. And
there you go.
It'll be fun.
Absolutely. We'll have to. So the next show in Kansas coming up is at the Fox in Hayes on August 10th, and tickets are on sale for that one right now. And we'll get you there, get to see you there, and we'll have to get you back down to Dodge City one of these days too.
That'd be great. Yeah, we got to do that.
So what's happening in the Ned Ledoux world? You had a new album come out earlier this year.
Yeah, right now we're just kind of just fixing on getting really busy touring. We kind of started things off just a couple, 2 or 3 weeks ago, but we're going to be covering a lot of territory. And my latest album, Buckskin, it came out about a year and a half ago, I guess, in March. And so it's my third full studio album. And my producer is the great Mac McAnally. He's produced everything I've ever done, and he also produced the last 3 albums that my dad put out.
Right.
And just a great guy to work with. Helps out with everything, and just makes everything just flow so easy. But just really excited about the new album. There's a lot of variety on there, a lot of cowboy stuff. Songs about traveling and everything in between. So yeah,
absolutely. So I mean, that was one thing that your dad, Chris Ledoux, if people haven't put that together yet, I'm sure they have, but had a lot of rodeo and cowboy and songs, and that's something that you've really kept going in your own music career as well.
Yeah, and I never did rodeo myself, but growing up in a ranch and rodeo musical family, I think I know just enough about it to write a song. And with the songs that I do write, they're not necessarily about me.
Right.
I think about my friends and family, and the landscape, part of the country that I grew up in and live now. It all makes for a pretty good story.
Absolutely. And I mean, I've worked in tourism in Kansas for a long time as well as radio, and the American cowboy is probably one of the most fascinating characters to everybody of all walks of life and all countries across the world. So you can't really go wrong singing about cowboys, I don't think.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm very proud to have grown up that way. Growing up on a ranch outside of KC, Wyoming, and I think we were talking earlier, I told you we moved to Northeast Kansas almost 12 or 13 years ago.
Right.
And that's a beautiful part of the state.
For
and
sure.
It reminds me a little bit about where I came from. And my wife's family are just awesome people. And, the cowboy is definitely some people call it a dying breed, but where I come from, they're alive and well.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It just shifted a little bit maybe. But, still a lot of cowboys around for sure. So where are you and where are you headed? What's going on? What's next?
Well, right now we're in Casper, Wyoming. We're playing at Shrine Frontier Days tonight at the Outlaw Saloon, and then we go to Sidney, Nebraska tomorrow. And that's about as far ahead as I really look.
Well, fair enough.
I think we're gonna be playing a lot of golf in between, but
absolutely.
I only look about maybe a week ahead.
That's fair. And then, of course, eventually on into Hayes at the Fox on August 10th. It's going to be a great show. Tickets are on sale for that now, so do that. And if you've never seen Ned Ledoux and his band live, you definitely don't miss this opportunity. It's going to be well worth the trip to Hayes, whether you're in Hayes or driving a few miles or driving down the interstate a little ways or a couple hours. It's definitely worth it. So to get up there and check out the band, and hear Ned Ledoux songs and things. And one time we've talked in the past, I know you do some of your dad's stuff, and you've got some stuff that you've some stuff that he didn't ever record or didn't finish writing that I remember you mentioned talking about that one time. Is that still something you're working on?
Try to make a long story short, but my dad left behind I call it the box of thoughts.
Right.
And I guess my mom, it wasn't too long after Dad passed away, which is hard to believe, it was over 18 years ago.
Yeah.
But she found this box of papers and realized that they were like song ideas, but nothing was finished. And so she made a few copies. She just picked out, maybe a dozen different ideas and sent them to Dad's management. Well, they got a hold of them, and they sent them to me and thought, well, maybe you could try to finish one of these.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, I was just playing drums. I've been playing drums for over 30 years in
right.
bands, including my dad.
Right.
And I was like, I've never written a song, but I kind of toyed with him a little bit, and then that's when Mac McAnally kind of stepped in, and things that he worked with Dad, years ago. He's like, yeah, why don't you come on down to Nashville and we'll sit in the living room and we'll work on one of these ideas. And so the title of the song that we came up with is called "We Ain't Got It All," and it's on my first album, Sagebrush. And the idea that Dad had written down, it was something about a rusty pickup truck full of barbed wire. It rolls on 4-ball tires, and there's firewood in the stack. I guess money's all we lack.
Nice.
And that's what we had to work with. But we kind of knew the direction he was wanting to go. And there's been some other songs on that first album that I put out where I would just use like one line here and there. I'd write the majority of the song, but there's a song called "Forever a Cowboy," and the part that I included of Dad's is like the opening line. He works by the seasons, not a clock on the wall.
Right.
And I just thought that was a good way to start. And then, but yeah, I mean, there's still a lot of ideas in that box of thoughts that maybe I need to, look back through and see what else we can come up with.
Absolutely. Well, it's really cool, and that you're able to do that and kind of have that legacy and things like that. And so you were a drummer for a long time. You mentioned drummed in other bands and then drummed for your dad. Did you ever? And now you're a front man. I mean, you're a singer songwriter. You're fronting a band and that kind of thing. Was that ever in a goal? Was that ever something you were shooting for, or is that something that just kind of materialized?
Yeah. Yeah, I never imagined I'd be doing what I'm doing right now. Yeah, I played drums. I guess I got started when I was about 6. I got my first drum kit, and it might kind of sound strange for a kid being that young to know the direction he wanted to go. And
right.
So I took lessons for a year or two, and then started playing in bands around Wyoming. And then I joined up with my dad. The first show was September of '98. And the way I got in the band was his drummer, K.W. Turnbow, got in a car wreck and messed his shoulder up.
Mm-hmm.
And so I stepped in to fill in for him. And what the original plan was is once K.W. was able to come back and play again, I would go to the merch table.
Right.
But Dad was like, well, man, Ned, you've been doing such a great job. K.W., it's good to have you back. Maybe you guys could figure out a way to where both of you could play. And so that was the creation of the two-headed monster.
Right.
But the way I guess I got into singing was not long after Dad had passed away, I joined up with this other band. It was Dustin Evans and the Good Times Band based out of South Dakota. And I hadn't been on the road with them too long, and we were hanging out in this cheap motel room after a gig one night, and Dustin had his acoustic out and was playing some songs, and he got up to go get a beer or something and handed me the guitar and said, "Here, Ned, why don't you play one of your dad's songs?" And I just looked at Dustin and said, "Man, I don't sing. I know the words. I know the words to almost every song that he ever had. But,
right.
I didn't really play the guitar all that much. So I guess it was kind of driving back home. I just kind of got to thinking, man, that would be kind of fun to just learn a handful of songs to where if I'm sitting around a campfire or in a cheap motel room with some buddies or just sitting on the front porch and just sing to the birds, And so it started off as a hobby.
Right.
I didn't really take it too serious. It was just kind of something fun to do. And the only songs I ever bothered learning were Dad. I didn't ever think about learning somebody else's songs. And pretty soon, one song led to another, and then pretty soon I had about 12 or 15 songs ready to go. And then I started playing solo gigs, and people were showing up. And once I saw that they were showing up, I thought, well, I better take this a little more serious if they're going to be spending their hard-earned money to come out and listen to me sing.
Right.
So that's kind of where it started, with this whole singing, and it led us to come into Hayes, Kansas. So, it's been a fun ride so far.
Absolutely. Well, we're glad for that cheap hotel room and that acoustic guitar, because now we get Ned Ledoux music.
There you go.
So
when it comes to songwriting, I remember talking with Mac McAnally. He said, you got, I think I was, 36 or 37 when that first album came out. He goes, you've had all these years of life experience, to put into songs. He said, and that's probably going to come a little easier for you. But once you start working on that second album, it's kind of like you got to find influence or something somewhere else, But I still go way back to when I was a kid working on the ranch and hanging out with my granddad and all the good memories of those days and make up a song from that.
Well, and if people are still coming to concerts and still buying albums, it's working.
Yeah, and we still carry CDs. I think they sound better than streaming stuff, but yeah.
Don't disagree with you there. So good stuff. Well, once again, Ned Ledoux going to be live at the Fox Theater in Hayes on Thursday, August 10th. Taylor, Austin Dye, and 20 Hands are the opening act, and then Ned Ledoux and the band. It's your full band, right? For that one?
Yeah, okay. The full group.
Got the full band going, and tickets are on sale now for $25. So get those picked up and get those ordered, and don't miss this show. I'm telling you, if you've never seen Ned Ledoux and his band, this is your chance. Don't miss it. It's going to be good. So,
yeah, we're going to have a lot of fun. We keep it pretty high energy, and of course play a lot of my stuff, but guaranteed to hear some of Dad's old classics.
Absolutely. So there you go. It's going to be a great time at the Fox on August 10th. So we appreciate the time, and we'll let you go. I'm sure you got a lot to get ready for the big show tonight, and where we practice that golf swing before you go hit the course, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Well, all right. Well, good to talk with you.
Absolutely. Thank you, and have a good one.